Okay, so this is Steve coming at you from the very end of the beach next to Shoal Marina with some beach goers and the wind blowing on a Tuesday afternoon just after the 4th of July here in Ballard, Seattle, Washington, Puget Sound. And there's a sailboat out here. I don't know if you can see it. Might be too far in the distance, but also a sailboat without the sails up, and oftentimes we'll see, here's a pretty good sized launch coming by, probably 50, 60 feet, and barges come by, 300-foot barge. We just saw one tug pulling a barge, or yeah, it's lashed up to the barge, up to the floor of the barge, and it was pulling it along. Cruise ships go by, freighters. It's a really busy traffic alley for international shipping that comes in through here and goes to Seattle, Port of Seattle, Tacoma, and all the way to Olympia in some cases. So this is the backdrop for a discussion about what's going to happen in the next 6-7 weeks, the rest of July and all of August. We're going to be building a fleet of vessels, sail and power, that is not going to be believed except by those who are participating and those who are kind of looking in on things and watching the explosion of this fleet. And the goal is to get to three major assets that are Elmas, extreme lifestyle marketing assets, that are, one is nautical and one is an island and one is a ranch. And they're not the whole picture, but they're just kind of at the sort of top of the feeding chain, if you will, the big thing that gets everybody's attention. Everybody's eye is drawn towards the big, the dramatic, the grand. And these are vessels that we won't be buying immediately, but we will be acquiring in the next couple of months. And the first one is the Sahara Oceanographer. There's a video about that on the list. You can look at that link and see more about the Sahara. The second one is Big Darby Island. That's a 500+ acre island in the Exumas, which is a sub-archipelago of the Bahamian chain, or the Bahamas, 150 miles or so from the tip of Florida, from Miami. So it's commutable in a day or so on a vessel, and you can fly there in an hour and a half from Miami or one of the airports near the southern tip of Florida. And it's home to the rich and famous, and it's to die for as far as white sand beaches and diving and sailing and snorkeling and kayaking and motor yachting and fishing, you name it, you can do it. The temperature varies barely more than 3 or 4 degrees either side of 75 degrees Fahrenheit, and the only thing you have to do is kind of plan for the big blows that come in, the big major storms, even hurricanes. So you can't just leave a normal building laying around, because it won't be there when you come back. And then the third is a ranch. We call it the Crow's Nest, part of the equation in the tribe, and that's a 70-acre ranch in Wyoming on the Snake River, really close to Grand Teton, with all kinds of yummies. You can watch the video if you doubt me, but this is a crazy place, and it keeps right up with the Sahara and Big Darby, this ranch. So this next step is much smaller pieces of the Elma puzzle. This will be motorhomes, diesel pushers mostly, big ones, 36 to 40 feet, maybe even some in excess of 40 feet, and sail and power, mostly in the 50-foot and up range. We're going to have some 100-footers come into the group before we see the Sahara deployed. We might actually acquire the Sahara before we're really ready to deploy, because it's a very large vessel, and it's going to take some recruiting and some talent and some work around the edges before it's ready to go to work and start raising money for ocean defenders and land habitat concerns. But these other vessels can go to work right away, within days or even hours. They'll be in the hunt, they'll be at events, they'll be at trawler fests, they'll be at the islands, they'll be in the San Juans, they'll be up to Vancouver, BC, and they'll expand down the west coast first to San Francisco and Santa Barbara and the LA Basin, Marina Del Rey, King Harbor, Long Beach, Laguna Beach and Dana Point, and down to San Diego and Upper Baja with the vessels. And many of them will be based along this path from Vancouver, essentially Cascadia, which in my view actually descends all the way down to Baja, because wherever you have beaches and you have the Cook with Honey crowd and you have mountains and you have forests and Big Sur and San Diego, Mission Bay and Ensenada, La Bufador, well, you have Cascadia, and it goes all the way up into the mountains above Vancouver to Whistler, BC, and points north where you have the amazing natural world, almost totally unspoiled because it's so remote. And so we're building the Bourne, the Blue Ocean Underground Railway network, via mostly vessels that are seagoing, that are marine, meaning they operate in salt water, and they can, many of them, circumnavigate or go to Hawaii or go to the South Pacific without much fuss, just a little bit of prep, and they're already rigged, and many of them have already been there, because we're not buying new things, we're buying older ones that actually have experience going to faraway places that make people's dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins go, whee! I want to go to those places. I want to be on those vessels. I want to hang out on those islands. I want to learn how to recruit that way instead of all this other nonsense that most everyone does without physical assets that do this really heavy lifting, not just for the oceans and the land critters and the kids that are dying again tonight, all 25,000 of them, but also for their own businesses and their own local charities and their own agendas, like putting the girl through a big school that costs a lot of money, or sending the cheerleaders to the other side of the state for a competition that they can't afford because they don't even have the diesel to put in the school bus or whatever. All of those projects are worthy. The soup kitchen, the battered women's shelter, the support for another cancer run, or just the local school that needs help with instruments for the band. Those are all important, but at the top of the equity structure of the tribe is this effort to look at the really, really big challenges and try to at least set a path, set an example to solve them by supporting the big ocean defenders and the big land habitat people. Paul Newman and Company, World Wildlife Fund, Big Kitty Rescue, the rhino people, lowland gorillas, people working on snow leopards and who knows what. They know what they're doing. We just want to raise money for them and help them have a source of funds that comes from the internet instead of auctions and celebrity roasts and all these one at a time, really, really painful to raise money for events that have been going on ad nauseum for decades, maybe longer, hundreds of years. And the internet can do it differently with video and with non-linear fundraise that most people don't know how to do, and we do, and we're going to show them how. And we're going to give it away to the big, huge, really, really important concerns that are doing this work and have been doing it, mostly without an awful lot of thanks, mostly just with wealthy people who send another check every 6 months or every quarter, or get on a monthly auto debit program or whatever. We want to do things differently, and the boats, and the islands, and the mountain hideaways, and the Bourne Network can do that heavy lifting, and it starts now. This is not some point in the future. It's ready now, and there are reasons. There aren't websites and sign up and do the affiliate ID thing and start mailing your list. This isn't that kind of operation. It's not one size fits all. It is not about mass marketing. It's a small number. It's about large dollars. It's about celebrities. It's about whales. It's about professional activists, professional educators, the top end people in the blogosphere, in politics, in just about anything you can think of. We're looking for people with sphere of influence leverage in this. And so it's like a yacht club model. We call it the Blue Ocean Yacht Club for a reason. It's invite only. We're going to put people through a vetting process, as they say in the yacht club arena, a reading before we let people in. It doesn't matter if they have lots of money. They're not getting in unless they qualify and unless they make sense to the project, unless we recognize what they stand for by their blog or by the book they wrote or by what they said on a TV interview or in a video they made and put on YouTube. And then we've got something. We've got whales that want other whales to come in that we're going to approve, and we get the hunting whale feeding frenzy that we've been looking for a while and haven't really gotten to because we haven't thought big enough. This is big think. No room for small think, no room for privates and sergeants. This is about the commodores and the admirals of the planet.